Right now at 5, Brewers playoff push. The Crew looks to get back on track after dropping Game 1.
And La Crosse libraries facing funding issues, how it could affect Northside residents.
Watching WKBT La Crosse, this is News 8 Now at 5.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 5. I'm Emily Brown.
And I'm Ken Kozarowski. Game 2 of the NLCS is tonight. The Dodgers taking Game 1 from the Brewers.
But don't hit the panic button just yet, because here's what some fans told us.
From the bat to the ball, it seemed like they struggled a little bit with that last night. Dodgers obviously have really good pitching staff, but I think if they really focus in on doing that, they can get it done.
I hope they win the whole thing. That'd be a great story. You know, euchre magic, all that stuff.
Sure would be. So tonight the Brewers are looking to bounce back. We'll bring in News 8 Now's Kate Overton for the game plan here. Kate.
Well, it was a sort of deflating Game 1. The Brewers fell just short, but it's the playoffs. There's no time to think about the what ifs because Game 2 set to start in about 2 hours. What we can talk about is what the Brewers can do better, and the obvious answer is hit. Milwaukee managed just 2 total hits in yesterday's game and only drew 3 total walks. It's hard to win a game without base runners, but you got to give some credit to Blake Snell. He had an amazing performance for LA, 8 innings and gave up just 1 hit.
He was great. His sequencing and in terms of throwing his changeup is effective. His changeup and slider were incredible. The kid was incredible. I've seen him pitch like that before.
This was as good as I can remember in the postseason against a very gritty team. Puts the ball in play.
Now tonight, Freddie Peralta will be on the mound for Milwaukee, Yamamoto for LA. The Brewers knocked Yamamoto out of the first inning earlier in the season, so maybe we'll see a similar performance. First pitch set for 7:08 on TBS.
Kate, thank you. In La Crosse, a budget shortfall could cost the city a library.
News 8 Now's Grace Monk is in the newsroom with this story. Grace.
The library system could see major cuts in next year's budget. Tonight, the library board will discuss how they plan to handle it. The discussion will focus on potential reductions to services, programs, and hours, or whether closing the Northside location is the best option. It's one of several departments facing cuts, and directors have to recommend cuts and closures. The library board will consider cuts based on tonight's discussion. Here's what one Northside resident told me.
I don't want it to close because, it has good books, where you can read and spend your time.
The board could vote on reductions tonight or table it until their November meeting. And that meeting just started at 5. It's being held at the auditorium location in the main library. In the newsroom, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Grace. Eau Claire could be getting a new cat ordinance. The Eau Claire Sustainability Advisory Committee is considering a change. It would require domestic cats to be on leashes outside. The move is to protect birds. There's also a push for higher licensing fees, and the money would be used for a shelter for abandoned outdoor cats. That committee meets tomorrow.
Well, the town of Campbell completed drilling for its first municipal well, but they still have some big business ahead.
Yep, News 8 Now's Allison Ferget is live at Campbell Town Hall with a preview of tonight's board meeting. Allison.
There are some big agenda items for tonight's meeting. There will be updates on the town's battle with PFAS and their efforts to improve their municipal water system. As mentioned, Campbell completed drilling a new municipal well last week to hopefully avoid PFAS contamination in their water. There will also be an update on the town's incorporation process. And another agenda item tonight, an ordinance on whether to allow the use of ATVs and UTVs on town roads. So a very packed meeting ahead of us, but we will have full coverage of it tonight at 10. Reporting in the town of Campbell, Allison Ferget, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Allison. And as you can see, she's getting a little bit of rain on her right now. Any more expected this week?
We got rain overnight continuing on through Wednesday morning, and then we have actually more coming too, but for right now it is going to be a damp, wet night and even through Wednesday morning. Right now most of the more steadier light rain or higher amounts is just to the north of La Crosse. You can see more of that yellow on radar. A lot of the stuff further south is just intermittent light sprinkles and light rain. Overall, you can see temperatures pretty steady around the 50-degree mark, but you can notice right as you go towards Ladysmith, some yellow, red. That's where you get some light, even some moderate rainfall right now falling up in that area. Eau Claire is starting to pick up a little bit more. There's some radar images from Menominee and then from Eau Claire, our camera up there. Just light rain, occasionally a little bit heavier, but still it's going to be wet roads up there. And for La Crosse, barely like 100 or 200 right now, just because we're kind of just south of that band that's just a little bit north. So it's been intermittent light rain, and even less as you go further south. You can see the Lansing Bridge there. Not much activity right there, just mainly cloud cover. So later on, we'll kind of time out the rest of this rainfall. Right now, not a lot, but we still have more to come. As I mentioned, we've got another round coming Thursday, but we do have some warmer conditions to end the week, too, so we'll break all that down a bit later.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
Well, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Amplify by Gunderson is highlighting their efforts to make screenings more accessible. The health system's mobile mammography units help provide services to women in rural communities. The units have been used in Bellin and Gunderson regions for more than a decade. In that time, over 70,000 patients have been served.
If we can find that early with an annual screening mammogram and get it taken care of, the patient's cure rate is over 99%.
Amplify officials say women aged 40 and older, or anyone with a family history of breast cancer, should regularly schedule mammograms.
Happening around the state, get set for lower gas prices. The switch to the winter blend is on. According to AAA, the price for unleaded in Wisconsin is $2.67 a gallon. Last year at this time, it was $3.05. The Packers are a hot ticket in and out of town. 3 of their next 4 games have average get-in prices close to $400. The Pack will face the Cardinals and Steelers in away games, and at Lambeau, they'll be taking on the Panthers and Eagles. And Post Malone is coming to Summerfest in 2026. He'll play at the American Family Insurance Amphitheater June 27th. Malone will be joined by special guest Carter Faith. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m.
A La Crosse holiday tradition is back for its 31st year. Rotary Lights announced what's new for this year's display, including a volcano, 4 new animated displays, and a talking tree. Baxter is the Rotary Lights stuffed animal this year, with all proceeds going to the Salvation Army. The display is free, but as always, Rotary Lights asks for food and cash donations to feed the hungry in the Coulee region.
Growth that we've had with Rotary Lights is so complementary to the community and so on, but we never envisioned. There's a few people here that have been with me all 30 years, and I think they would tell you that we never thought it was going to kick off and get this big and do so much good for the communities.
Rotary Lights kicks off November 28th at Riverside Park with an opening night parade, ceremony, and fireworks.
Still to come tonight, 14 days and counting. The Senate set to vote again on opening the government, but will it work?
Plus, what just happened? A new problem in the Middle East peace plan.
Tomorrow on News 8 Now this morning, the government shutdown is about to impact paychecks, plus burgers, beer, and a good cause, how you can get involved, and art is tracking more rain when we see you at 5 a.m.
The government shutdown hitting day 14. The Senate is expected to vote for an 8th time on a House-passed measure to fund the government.
But the two parties remain divided over health care. CBS News' Erica Brown is on Capitol Hill.
I'm an air traffic controller here. Do you want to help aviation safety by ending the shutdown?
This member of the Air Traffic Controllers Union handed leaflets to travelers outside Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Virginia, Tuesday to highlight the impact of the ongoing government shutdown.
The American worker that lives paycheck to paycheck, which is almost every air traffic controller, cannot last without pay.
In a social media post, the White House Office of Management and Budget said Tuesday that it is preparing to, quote, ride out the Democrats by continuing to pay troops and law enforcement and more reduction in force notices.
We are closing up Democrat programs that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
At a news conference, Democrats called the Trump administration's layoffs illegal.
Firing and threatening to fire federal employees is part of the Trump administration's campaign to inflict trauma on our federal workforce.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has warned this shutdown could be the longest in history as lawmakers remain deadlocked. But President Trump says his administration has identified funds to at least pay the military, a move some Democrats say is likely illegal.
My understanding of this is they have every right to move the funds around. If the Democrats want to go to court and challenge troops being paid, bring it.
The Senate is planning another vote Tuesday evening on funding the government, but there are no signs of any progress to end the stalemate. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Some airports are pulling a Homeland Security video by Kristi Noem. It's playing at checkpoints. In the video, Noem blames the Democrats for the shutdown. Dems say the video violates the Hatch Act, which forbids the use of public assets for political purposes and messaging.
Developing now, a state of uncertainty in the Middle East. Israel says 4 more bodies have been returned, with 20 still missing. It's calling the move a violation of the agreement and is now cutting in half the number of trucks delivering aid into Gaza. But retrieving the bodies may not be that simple.
Maybe under the rubble, considering the intensity of the conflict over the last days, particularly in Gaza City.
As for rebuilding Gaza, the World Bank and others estimate the price tag could exceed $50 billion. We will have more news ahead.
But first.
Yeah, we still got more rain tonight. Dry conditions maybe for a little bit Wednesday, but then we got another round coming for Thursday. But better news is we might actually get to the mid-70s by Friday. So we'll break all that down coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
Cleanup is underway after that powerful nor'easter.
Yeah, the storm brought torrential rain, powerful winds, and flooding from the Carolinas to New England, triggering water rescues, including this one off Cape Cod.
We put boards up to make sure if the water flows this way that it doesn't come down the road. We evacuate everything off the deck. So as long as you're prepared, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch the waves. It's pretty exciting.
Now in New York City, a 76-year-old woman died after she was struck by a solar panel that blew off a nearby carport during the storm. In Massachusetts, 2 people were killed and 1 injured when a small plane crashed near Cape Cod.
Yeah, strong gust over there. Fortunately for us, it's just cooler and gloomy, but we do have a cold front headed our way later this week, Greg. We have to gear up for that.
Yeah, that's coming up on Friday night with another system coming through. Right now, we still got the rain that's going on for tonight that should persist here. Right now, radar shows you most of the activity, at least the steady to light rain that's hitting the ground more, is north of La Crosse up to Eau Claire. You see, these are 6-hour rain amounts, not that impressive right yet, just because it's not coming down quite that impressive. Further south you go, it's more spotty all the way down Prairie du Chien, not seeing much in the way of precipitation, just a lot more clouds. But that will change a little bit overnight. Big picture shows all this activity which started out to the south. Actually, this has a little bit of originally of tropical system going all the way down to the Pacific. This is kind of where some of the moisture is originated from a long time ago. It's lifting north. It's going to be eventually kind of then lifting and shifting east overnight, and then basically exiting the area as we go through tomorrow morning. But overall, you see this band up here will persist for a few more hours, but then notice as we get closer to 8 to 9, it starts really filling in south of it as it begins to kind of sink south a little bit. So La Crosse and south, really the steady light rain is going to be a little bit in a few more hours. And then overnight, it really then shifts south of Eau Claire. Once we get past 11, they'll still see some activity, but now the steady light rain is south along I-90 and further south. That'll be the trend continuing overnight. Eau Claire and further north, they'll start seeing just spotty showers after 2, mainly dry conditions. And then as we get closer to the morning commute, it's going to be really I-90 and further south that you're going to see some shower activity along it or steady little light rain. Further north you go, probably mainly dry conditions. Throughout the morning, really this activity becomes more scattered and eventually isolated really as we go towards the noon hour and beyond. But notice the cloud cover. It sticks around quite a bit all day. We're not going to expect to see much in the way of sunlight and a few spotty showers throughout the afternoon, but overall the afternoon looking mainly dry into the evening hours too. Now as we look at rain amounts, pretty much this is only going through about 5 a.m. because most of the activity is about through that time. You can see there's going to be that corridor once it begins to sink south that La Crosse and the areas could see a quarter, and there'll be a few areas that get close to a ½ inch. Further north and south you go a little bit less, but this is where that band's going to set up. So overall everyone's going to see some precipitation and a decent amount going forward. Now, as we go on, here's your temperatures. For tonight, not much change in them, upper 40s to around 50, so maybe dropping a few degrees from what they are right now. Tomorrow, pretty much similar to what we saw today, just not as much precipitation, so some areas may get close to 60. This is a little bit below average, but not that far. And then the next system coming is probably going to impact Thursday morning. This is associated with a warm front that's in Minnesota. It's going to lift northeastward. So we'll have a round of showers through the morning commute, potentially about noon, and then there's a few afternoon showers. But the Thursday evening and Thursday night looks dry and very warm, too, with that south wind. In fact, we might not get below 60 for going into Friday morning. Friday looks good. We have warm conditions, and then here comes the front coming through. That'll come through probably Friday night or early Saturday morning. That's another round of showers coming through with some cooler air behind it, and it could impact Friday evening activity, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But you look at Thursday's highs. This is just for Thursday. We're looking, and the numbers are not quite there. They're showing up. Upper 60s and 70s, and then if you look at Friday, mid to upper 70s and very warm too for this time of year. It will cool down for the weekend. We'll get back to average on Sunday with some breezy conditions out of the west behind that front. And then next week we start getting a little bit more active, but overall temperatures remaining a little bit above average. So it is a wet period. We have some dry conditions, but overall temperatures are going to warm up towards the end of the week.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Well, still to come, the whole club will soon be looking at her.
The unforgettable collab after the break.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
The artist T-Pain is teaming up with Crocs.
Yeah, they're bringing life to the boots with the fur from Flo Rida's classic song, Low. The company says the boot is more than 35 inches tall and is wrapped in leopard print fur.
That new boot will be available October 23rd on Crocs.com with a retail price of $159.99.
I mean, it's a ridiculous looking boot.
For one boot?
For one boot.
So if you need two, it's
$400. No, $300.
Little steep.
I don't know why they didn't do this earlier. Why now? Why the boots with the fur?
A decade
college,
ago?
when I was in college, yeah. But it could be a good Halloween costume accessory too.
Guess
All
so.
right, Greg has a final look at your forecast right after this.
All right, wet conditions all the way through Wednesday morning, probably Wednesday evening dry, then Thursday morning more rain, but then Thursday evening dry, and then we get warmer, but we do get wet again Friday night, so kind of active pattern.
All right, thanks for joining us at 5.
We'll see you at 6.